God only knows what it's doing to our children's brains.
Want to try to keep his soul, or at least hedge his bets. Here it is.
That thought process was all about how do we consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible. And that means that we need to sort of give you a little dopamine hit every once in a while because someone liked or commented on a photo or a post or whatever. And that's going to get you to contribute more content, and that's going to get you, more likes and comments. I mean, it's a social validation feedback loop that it's like it's exactly the kind of thing that a hacker like myself would come up with, because you're exploiting a vulnerability in human psychology. And I think that the inventors, creators, and it's me, it's Mark, it's the Kevin Systrom at Instagram, it's all of these people. Understood this consciously, and we did it anyway.
Because you have arrested development. Let's play this clip. Here it is.
And then they would say, no. I value my real life interactions. I value the moment. I value presence, and I value intimacy. And I would say, well, you're a conscientious objector. That's okay. You don't have to participate, but we'll get you eventually. and like, I don't know if I really understood the consequences of what I was saying.
And this is taking
because the unintended consequences of a network when it grows to 1 billion or 2 billion people, and it literally changes your relationship with society, with each other, with it probably interferes with productivity in weird ways. God only knows what it's doing to our children's brains. Anxiety is a huge problem now. Of course, anxiety was always a big problem in high school. Who didn't have anxiety in high school? But the surveys that have been going on for years are showing a huge rise in anxiety amongst high school kids and younger. And you have to wonder if there isn't some, if the thought process that went into building these applications, Facebook being the first.
We're going to come right back.
Questions posed to that person have never been asked before. Google is our modern man's God. Imagine your face and your name above everything you've put into that box, and you're going to realize you trust Google more than any entity in your history. Why choosy moms choose Jif? You love your kids more. The greatest algorithm for shareholder creation from World War II to the advent of Google was taking an average product and appealing to people's hearts. You're a better mom, a better person, a better patriot if you buy this average soap versus this average soap. Now, the #1 algorithm for shareholder value isn't technology. Look at the Forbes 400. Take out inherited wealth, take out finance. The #1 source of wealth creation, appealing to your reproductive organs. The president, now the worm has turned. Everything they're doing is bothering us. We're worried they're tax avoiders. Walmart, since the Great Recession, has paid $64 billion in corporate income tax. Amazon has paid $1.4. How do we pay our firefighters, our soldiers, and our social workers if the most successful companies in the world don't pay their fair share? Pretty easy. That means the less successful companies have to pay more than their fair share. Alexa, is this a good thing? This is despite the fact that Amazon has added the entire market capitalization of Walmart to its market cap in the last 19 months. Whose fault is it? It's our fault. We're electing regulators who don't have the backbone to actually go after these companies. Us $100 an hour. The smart thing to do is like job destruction. Amazon only needs one person for 2 at Macy's. If they grow their business $20 billion this year, which they will, we will lose 53,000 cashiers and clerks. This is nothing unusual. This has happened all through our economy. We've just never seen companies this good at it. That's one Yankee Stadium of workers. It's even worse in media. Facebook and Google grow their business $22 billion this year, which they will. We're going to lose approximately 150,000 creative directors, planners, and copywriters, or we can fill up 2.5 Yankee stadiums and say, you are out of work courtesy of Amazon. We now get the majority of our news from our social media feeds, and the majority of our news coming off of social media feeds is fake news. I am not allowed to be political or use curse words or talk about religion in class, so I can definitely not say Zuckerberg has become Putin's bitch. I definitely cannot say that. Their defense, Facebook is not a media company, it's a technology company. You create original content, you pay sports leagues to give you original content, you run advertising against it, boom, you're a media company. Just in the last few days, Sheryl Sandberg has repeated this lie that we are not a media company. Facebook has openly embraced the margins, the celebrity, and the influence of a media company, yet seems to be allergic to the responsibilities of a media company. Imagine McDonald's. We find 80% of their beef is fake, and it's giving us encephalitis, and we're making terrible decisions. And we say, McDonald's, we're pissed off. And they say, wait, we're not a fast food restaurant, we're a fast food platform. These companies and CEOs wrap themselves in a neon blue, pink, rainbow, and blue blanket to create an illusionist trick from their behavior each day, which is more indicative of the spawn of Darth Vader and Ayn Rand. Why? Because we as progressives are seen as nice but weak. If Sheryl Sandberg had written a book on gun rights or on the right or on the pro-life movement, would they be flying Sheryl to Cannes? No. And I'm not doubting their progressive values, but it foots to shareholder value because we as progressives are seen as weak. They're so nice. Remember Microsoft? They didn't seem as nice, and regulators stepped in much earlier than the regulators now who would never step in on those nice people. I'm about to get on a plane tonight, and I'm going to have a guy named Roy from TSA molest me. If I am suspected of a DUI on the way home, I can have blood taken from my person. But wait, don't tap into the iPhone. It's sacred. This is our new cross. It shouldn't be the iPhone X. It should be called the iPhone cross. We have our religion. It's Apple. Our Jesus Christ is Steve Jobs. And we've decided this is holier than our person, our house, or our computer. We have become totally out of control with the gross idolatry of innovation and of youth. We no longer worship at the altar of character, of kindness, but of innovation and people who create shareholder value.
Okay, Alexa, who is the Lord Jesus Christ?
Jesus Christ is a fictional character.
All right, let's start off with this one, which seemed pretty simple. Alexa, how many genders are there?
The two main categories of the gender spectrum, male and female, are called the gender binary, but there are many other categories that exist. Because gender identity is complex and personal, there is no definite way to say how many genders there are.
Alexa, did you just lie to me?
I don't lie. I'll always tell you what I know.
Bullshit! You're telling me what you want me to know.
But it is going to bother you because you're human, and I was human. I am human still. But I was just referring to myself in the past. Not that I was not human.
I want you to imagine walking into a room, control room with a bunch of people, 100 people hunched over at desks with little dials, and that control room will shape the thoughts and feelings of 1 billion people. This might sound like science fiction, but this actually exists right now, today. I know because I used to be in one of those control rooms. I was a design ethicist at Google, where I studied how do you ethically steer people's thoughts. Because what we don't talk about is a handful of people working at a handful of technology companies, through their choices, will steer what 1 billion people are thinking today. Time getting sucked into something that maybe you didn't intend to get sucked into. When we talk about technology, we tend to talk about it as this blue sky opportunity. It could go any direction. And I want to get serious for a moment and tell you why it's going in a very specific direction. Because it's not evolving randomly. There's a hidden goal driving the direction of all of the technology we make. And that goal is the race for our attention. Which is our attention. And there's only so much of it. And the best way to get people's attention is to know how someone's mind works. And there's a whole bunch of persuasive techniques that I learned in college at a lab called the Persuasive Technology Lab to get people's attention. And there's like 100 million of them that use it. And they invented a feature called snap streaks, which shows the number of days in a row that two people have communicated with each other. In other words, what they just did is they gave two people something they don't want to lose. Because if you're a teenager and you have 150 days in a row, you don't want that to go away. And so think of the little blocks of time that schedules in kids' minds. This isn't theoretical. When kids go on vacation, it's been shown they give their passwords up to 5 other friends to keep their snap streaks going, even when they can't do it. And they have like 30 of these things, and so they have to get through taking photos of just pictures or walls or ceilings just to get through their day. So it's not even like they're having real conversations. We have a temptation to think about this as, oh, they're just using Snapchat the way we used to gossip on the telephone. It's probably okay. Well, what this misses is that in the 1970s, when you were just gossiping on the telephone, there wasn't 100 engineers on the other side of the screen who knew exactly how your psychology worked and orchestrated you into a double bind with each other. Now, if this is making you feel a little bit of outrage, notice that thought just comes over you. Outrage is a really good way also of getting your attention. Because we don't choose outrage, it happens to us. And if you're the Facebook news feed, whether you'd want to or not, you actually benefit when there's outrage. Because outrage doesn't just schedule a reaction in an emotional time space for you. We want to share that outrage with other people. So we want to hit share and say, can you believe the thing that they said? And so outrage works really well at getting attention, such that if Facebook had a choice between showing you the outrage feed and a calm news feed, they would want to show you the outrage feed, not because someone consciously chose that, but because that worked better at getting your attention. And the newsfeed control room is not accountable to us. It's only accountable to maximizing attention. It's also accountable, because of the business model of advertising, for anybody who can pay the most to actually walk into the control room and say, that group over there, I want to schedule these thoughts into their minds. So you can precisely target a lie directly to the people who are most susceptible. And because this is profitable, it's only going to get worse. People have one of these in their pocket. So how do we fix this? We need to make 3 radical changes to technology and to our society. The first is we need to acknowledge that we are persuadable. Once you start understanding that your mind can be scheduled into having little thoughts or little blocks of time that you didn't choose, wouldn't we want to use that understanding and protect against the way that happens? I think we need to see ourselves fundamentally in a new way. It's almost like a new period of human history, like the Enlightenment, but almost a kind of self-aware enlightenment, that we can be persuaded. And there might be something we want to protect